The Killer in the Crawlspace, a full-length suspense crime thriller inspired by Wayne Gacy, Chicago, mid-1970s. A city of ice winters, crooked politicians, cheap cigarettes, and neighborhoods where everyone pretended not to see the shadows. Back then, folks trusted smiles a little too easily, especially the smile of a man named Wayne Gacy. To the world, Gacy was the classic American neighbor, a contractor with a fat handshake, a party host with a fridge full of beer, a community clown who called himself Pogo, a guy who waved to kids from his front lawn like he was running for mayor. But behind that Joker grin, something wicked was crawling, and journalist Jake Donovan was the first to smell the rot. 1. The disappearing boys. The first missing kid didn't ring any alarms. This was Chicago. Kids ran away all the time. But then another vanished, and another, and another. Posters started stacking up on lamp poles like wallpaper. Jake stared at the faces, all boys, all young, all around the same age. Someone's hunting them, Jake whispered to himself. The cops shrugged. Kids take off. Happens. Jake slammed the desk. Not 30 of them. Not all from the same damn side of the city. The police told him to calm down. Jake didn't. 2. The contractor with too many secrets. Gacy kept appearing in Jake's research like a stain he couldn't wash out. One boy told a friend he had a job interview with a contractor. Another was last seen entering a car that matched Gacy's sedan, and neighbors kept reporting weird, funky smells from his house. "Oh, that?" Gacy would laugh, waving them off. "Sewer backup." But the smell wasn't plumbing. It was death, buried under his floorboards. Jake's instincts screamed, "This man is a walking nightmare dressed like Middle America." 3. The clown who loved the spotlight. Jake first met Gacy at a public charity event. Gacy was in full pogo makeup, red nose, oversized shoes, painted smile stretched too wide. When he shook Jake's hand, the grip was strong. Too strong. A grip that said, "I could snap your wrist if I wanted." "Newspaper guy, right?" Gacy asked, voice syrupy. "Heard you been asking about me." Jake forced a smirk. "Just doing my job." Gacy leaned close. "Well, be careful. People who dig too deep sometimes fall into holes." Jake's stomach dropped. Was that a threat? Oh, hell yes, it was. 4. The Crawlspace rumors. Gacy's workers talked, quietly, fearfully. One teen whispered to Jake. "He asked me to come over for drinks, said he had games in the basement. Dude gave off weird vibes." Another said, "I heard thuds at night, like digging and laughing." Jake scribbled everything into his notebook. Digging. Late-night noises, sealed basement door. Something was down there, something alive, or dead. 5. The boy named Robbie. Everything changed when Robbie Pierce, 17, vanished. His mother told Jake through tears, "He got a job offer from that man, Gacy. My boy never came home." Jake clenched his jaw so hard it hurt. That was the moment he swore he'd bring the monster down. He didn't know how deep the nightmare went. Not yet. 6. Midnight surveillance. Jake began tailing Gacy's house every night. One snowy night, 3 a.m., he saw Gacy dragging a heavy plastic bag to his car trunk. Gacy paused, looked around, then drove into the darkness. Jake followed, heart racing, breath shaking. The chase ended by the Des Plaines River. Gacy tossed the bag into the water, calm, casual, like he was feeding ducks. Jake whispered, "Oh, hell no, he's dumping bodies." But without proof, he couldn't do a damn thing. Not yet. 7. The warrant fed up, Jake took everything to Detective Morales. Morales rubbed his temples. "Donovan, this better not be another wild goose chase." Jake slammed photos on the table. The timelines, the testimonies, the missing kids. Morales sighed. All right, we'll search the house, Jake whispered. Please hurry. 8. The House of Horrors. The morning of the search felt wrong. Even the winter wind was dead silent. When cops entered the house, Gacy acted like it was some big inconvenience. Come on in, he said cheerfully. Nothing to hide. Jake stood outside, pacing, chewing his nails to blood. Hours passed. Then suddenly, a scream from inside the house. A cop burst out the door, eyes wide, face white as chalk. Crawlspace, he gasped. They're in the crawlspace. Detective Morales came out next, voice shaking. Donovan, there are bodies, dozens buried under the damn house. Jake felt the ground tilt. He stumbled, fell to his knees. He had been right, but nothing in the world could prepare him for how right. 9. The monster unmasked. When police dragged Gacy into custody, Jake watched. Gacy wasn't crying, wasn't scared. He was smirking, like a man caught cheating in poker, annoyed, not sorry. In interrogation, Gacy confessed with chilling ease, "Yeah, I killed them. They were nobodies. I gave them a roof, food, then I put them where they couldn't run." Jake wanted to punch him, wanted to scream, but all he could do was listen, jaw tight, heart breaking. 10. The trial of the century. The trial turned the country upside down. News called him the killer clown, master of deception, the suburban nightmare. Survivors testified. Doctors explained his psyche. Parents wept into microphones. Jake wrote every detail, every scream, every tear. Justice came slow, but it came. Gacy was sentenced to death. Even then, he joked with reporters, like he still thought the world was his circus. 11. The end of the clown. Years later, on the day of his execution, Jake watched from the press chamber. Someone asked Gacy for final words. He grinned and said, "Kiss my ass." Cold, empty, heartless to the end. When the machine finally silenced him, Jake exhaled a breath he'd been holding for years. Chicago slept easier that night. 12. Aftermath. The house was torn down, the crawl space filled, grass grew where horrors once lay. Jake visited the empty lot often. He stood there one evening, snow falling soft around him, and whispered, "For all the boys who never got to grow up, for every mother who cried, we saw the monster and we won." Then he walked away, into a new day, leaving the shadows behind. But he would never forget the smell under that house, or the painted smile, or the truth that evil wears masks, sometimes even clown masks. Create different images prompt for each scene. 25 images in total.